Good day everyone, I am Anat Villanueva, together with my groupmates, Janlyn Turla, Jacqueline Suaco, Mika Umpad, and Charlie Tamayo. Today we will be discussing the skill-centered course design. Let me define first the course design. Course design is the process by which the raw data about a learning need is interpreted in order to produce an integrated series of teaching learning experiences where ultimate aim is to lead the learners to a particular state of knowledge. Right. So there are three approaches to course design. First is language-centered approach. Second is skill-centered approach, which is our topic for today. And the third one is the learning-centered approach. So let's move on. What is skill-centered approach or course design? The skill-centered approach to ESP has been widely applied in a number of countries, particularly in Latin America. Students in universities and colleges there have limited but important need to read subject text in English because they are unavailable in mother tongue. So when we say skill-centered approach, this approach aims to help learners for developing skills and strategies which continue after ESP course by making better processors of information. A skill-centered approach says we must look behind target performance data to discover what processes enable someone to perform. Those processes will determine the ESP course. So, kapag skill-centered course design or approach, ibig sabihin, it focused on the skills or to the development of skills and strategies that should remain active after ESP course or after the whole course or by making learners better processors of information. So that is for my part.
So now let's proceed to the skill-centered approach is founded on two fundamental principles. We have two principles. These are theoretical and pragmatic. The pragmatic will be discussed by Jenlyn Turla, but theoretical is my part of the report. So basic theoretical hypothesis. So the basic theoretical hypothesis is that underlying any language behavior are certain skills and strategies which the learner uses in order to produce or comprehend discourse. So alam naman natin na it's not possible kung mag-uusap kayo without languages. So, para magkaintindihan, meron dyan ginagamitan natin ng iba't ibang language at strategies kung paano natin i-deliver. But, yun po yun. So, next, theoretical. This approach aims to get away from the surface performance data and look at the competence that underlies the performance. So, dito is parang na-conduct na ng study at we can evaluate, we can know the result on because we have the data performance sa kung paano yung resulta ng theoretical. So, next reporter is Jenlyn Turla will be discuss the pragmatic basis.
Good day everyone, I am Jenlyn Turla and I will be discussing the second fundamental principles of the skill-centered approach, which is pragmatic basis. So pragmatic basis, when we say pragmatic, it is dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. So the pragmatic basis for the skill-centered approach derives from a distinction made by Widow Sun on 1981 between goal-oriented courses and process-oriented courses. So when we say goal-oriented courses, it refers to the student's reason for engaging in various achievement behaviors in a particular situation. These reasons may be to learn or mastery orientation, to do better than others, or a performance approach orientation, and or to avoid failure, a performance avoidance orientation. So when we say process-oriented courses, it is defined as an instruction aimed at teaching thinking strategies and domain-specific knowledge in coherence. This new conception of instruction is derived from psychological research on the way students learn and on the interplay between self-regulation and external regulation of learning. The emphasis in the ESP course is not on achieving a particular set of goals, but on enabling the learners to achieve what they can within the given constraint. So, process-oriented approach is at least realistic in concentrating on strategies and processes of making students aware of their own abilities and potential, and motivating them to tackle target text on their own after the end of the course so they can continue to improve. The skill-centered approach is a course design that views language in terms of how the mind of the learner processes it rather than as an entity in itself, and approaches the learner as a user of language rather than as a learner of language. That's all for my part. Thank you for listening.
So, hello everyone. The next topic is about the roles of the needs analysis in skill-centered course design is twofold. So, by the way, this is Mika Ompad, and okay, let's start. So, the roles of the needs analysis and skill-centered design has twofold, which is first, it provides a basis of discovering the underlying competence that enables people to perform in the target situation. So, meaning, the first role that needs an analysis is providing a basis or discovering the underlying competence that students or people enables to perform in a target situation or in a target or in a certain problem. So meaning ang first role is providing or discovering the competence of a person or a student on how she or he can perform on a certain situation or on her own problem. How can a student solve a certain problem? Okay, so the second role is it enables the course designer to discover the potential knowledge and abilities that the learners bring to the ESP classroom. So in this second role, it is about enabling designers to learn new or discover other learners' ability, knowledge, or skills that a student can showcase on a certain classroom or in a certain ESP discussion. So okay, get it? So in the second role, it's about discovering other learners' abilities, skills, and knowledge in a certain ESP discussion or class discussion. That's all.
Therefore, the skill-centered approach can certainly claim to take the learner more into account than the language-centered approach because it views languages in terms of how the mind of the learners processes it rather than as an entire in itself. It tries to build on the positive factors that the learners bring to the course rather than just a negative idea of lacks. Last, it frames its objective in open-ended terms, so enabling learners to achieve at least something. To summarize a skill-centered approach, the outcome is the reaction or the result of two fundamental factors, which are the theoretical and the pragmatics, in which these two helps the learner to develop skills and strategies that can help them to understand the English language. The skill-centered approach still approaches the learner as a user of the language rather than just a learner of the language. The processes it is concerned with are the process of language use, not of language learning.